Welcome, collective. Thank you guys very much for joining me today. And thank you guys too for all of your views, your likes, your subscribes. Your support is absolutely appreciated, guys. Let's go ahead and start your tarot read for today. We'll see what message the universe has for you guys. So what does the collective need to hear today? What's on the collective's mind? I get pulled to this deck here, my Infinite Energies deck. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle it up and we'll let some come out. So what is the message, Spirit, that the collective needs today? We got some that keep flying out to the side. So let's see what came out. Oh, that's interesting. So the planet Uranus came forward. This planet is all about revolution and radical change. I made a revolution of what should be interesting. So I wonder what's been going on, like big radical change. I do feel big radical change. Kindness. Kindness begins with knowing that we all struggle. I gotta tell you too, I feel like there's multiple messages within this kindness card. The one that I'm picking up the most strongly now is someone being kind to themselves. I feel like somebody had to take the time to be kind to themselves, to recognize that it's okay to struggle, that it's okay to have a heartbreak, it's okay to have emotions and feelings that need to be worked through. So I do feel somebody being kind to themselves. Sexuality. Sexuality is an instinct as natural as hunger or thirst. Look at this card though. That art is absolutely beautiful. I gotta tell you too, I do feel like somebody was undervaluing themselves at least one point in their life, and this might have been the kindness and the radical revolution that Uranus is speaking to as well, and sort of not using sex to keep a relationship, or not having a relationship sort of based in sex and staying that way. Because I do feel like, and I don't know that somebody did it consciously, but I do feel like that was part of it, having relationships. And it never got to a deeper level because it started right away in sexuality and it stayed there. And it stayed there. And so emotions were never being met because there was never that base for having an emotional relationship. Venus. Venus is a planet all about beauty. It does tend to be our feminine energy, but it speaks to beauty a lot of times. Yeah, exactly. There are so many beautiful stars in the sky, so many beautiful things winking at you. But when Venus comes out, all others are waned. They are pushed to the background. I gotta tell you too, I think you pushed your inner beauty to the background at some point in your life, because I feel like this is a change. We're talking about a change that somebody's going through. I feel like where somebody was, they sort of pushed their inner beauty back and sort of used that outwardness and that sexuality to make connection with others. And it took somebody some sort of a radical change and a kindness to themselves to say, I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than that. Even my sexuality and allowing someone to have that connection with my body is worth more than what I've been sort of putting into it. I have more beauty than that. I have more worth than that. It's time for me to recognize my own worth and my own inner beauty. Logic. I think somebody had to do some deep thinking. I think somebody had to really do some deep thinking. This might have even been hermit mode. This might have been triggered by a tower. But this was somebody figuring things out for themselves. I'm worth more than this. I want more in a relationship than what I've been getting. And if I want more, I need to start doing things differently. I need to start looking at things in a different way. This is this revolution. It's a revolution of thought. The logic card in Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the planet of intelligence as well. Mercury. I do feel like somebody, I keep getting told, got smart. Somebody got smart. So somebody recognized their own self-worth. They recognized their beauty. They recognized their value. They are now being more kind to themselves and holding themselves in a higher regard. And that means holding others to a higher standard. They're holding themselves and others to a higher standard. They don't just give their sexuality away. This is somebody who takes their time now. This is somebody who's getting picky. Do you deserve to have this part of my life? Do you deserve to be able to partake in my body? Are you worthy of that? Are you worthy of that physical connection with me? I don't feel like it was always like that. I feel like this was something that somebody had to come to the conclusion, yeah, connection, there it is. The most important thing in our lives is the connections we make with others. So somebody was looking for connection. Somebody was looking to have the, I feel like a deep caring connection. So this might have been a romantic love, a lifetime connection, but not going about it in a way that was going to get them those results. Because like I said, somebody put a lot of focus on sexuality and sort of attracting in somebody through sexuality. But once the relationship started at that level, it's like it never had anything more to progress with. It sort of just stayed stagnant there. And so somebody never got everything else and all their other needs met. You know, the emotional connection, the friendship connection, being able to enjoy somebody's company, because it always was about sex and led to sex. Pluto, I break down the old and build new. And that is what somebody's doing. It's like a new way of being. We're breaking down sort of that old way of thinking, that old way of being, recognizing our value and starting fresh, starting something new. Dark matter is love. It's the attracting force. Look at this gorgeous dark matter card. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you this too. This person, if this is resonating with you, you making this change in your way of thinking, you making this change in your way of being in this world, it does absolutely change the energy that you send out into the universe. It changes the energy that you send out to others and that they pick up on. And it will draw you in what you're looking for. It will draw you in a caring connection, the type of connection you're looking for. Because if you know your value and your worth, then you're not going to allow people in your life who don't reflect that. Their behavior does not reflect that. You're not going to put your energy into that. So you'll always have open space for the right person to come forward. You're not going to get hung up in the bad relationships that are really just wasting your time. This one and these ones wanted to come out. You know what? This one from the side wanted to come out too. Tundra, the only way out is through. I do feel like this was uncomfortable shadow work that somebody had to do. I don't feel like this was a very fun thing to have to look into somebody's life, to really look deep down inside and be like, okay, why am I doing this? What's my trigger here? Well, I really want a connection. I'm really craving that connection with somebody. I would love to have this love in my life. This is very important to me to be able to have that and to be able to see that they were feeling lonely, And that's okay to feel that way. But to be careful about who they allow into that space, right? And ego. I'll tell you what I see in this ego card too. I do see that somebody had to learn to love themselves first. And I don't think that somebody hated themselves, but I don't think they really truly valued all their positivity and valued their uniqueness and valued their own beauty. Because they wanted that connection, so they were willing to compromise in a lot of different ways. They were willing to sort of use that sexuality in the beginning to bring somebody in. And now it's like they see the value in their body. They see the value in their heart. They see the value in their soul. And so if anybody's going to come and try and have that physical connection with them, they're like, no, first I need to know you. And first I need to know that you are worthy of that physical connection with me. Because somebody had to learn to love themselves first. So that is shadow work that, honestly, guys, I think almost every single one of us struggles with at some point in our lives, and sometimes multiple times in our lives. It's something that we have to go through. It's not fun. It's not fun shadow work to do, but it's very necessary to be able to get the type of life that we want, to be able to find happiness and fulfillment. It starts on the inside first, and it starts with ourselves. Hope. Hope is the only thing stronger than fear. So I gotta tell you, in this hope card, when somebody was able to do this shadow work, when somebody was able to have this kindness for themselves, this radical sort of shift of mindset, and to work their way through this shadow work and find love for themselves, I feel like it gave them hope again for finding connection in the future. Because I think in the way that things were going, I don't want to say they didn't have hope, but I don't feel positivity or optimism around that time. So I don't feel like somebody was optimistic about finding what they were looking for. It was kind of like I was going to have to settle if I wanted to get what I wanted. But now I don't feel like somebody feels like that anymore. Now I feel like hope is renewed. I will find what I'm looking for. I will find the connection that I'm looking for. I will find somebody who values me in a way that I deserve to be valued. Yeah, thought. If you realize how powerful your thoughts were, you would never think a negative thought again. And that's what I was saying with this dark matter. Dark matter is love. It's the attracting force. With your thoughts, and with your self-love and this shift in energy, because you have changed your energy and the energy that you send out into the universe, it will go towards manifesting what you're wanting in life. Absolutely. Electricity. Powerful to wield, just don't get burned. I feel like I keep getting pulled back to this thought card, and I feel like these are kind of one and the same. And being conscious about what you're thinking, being conscious about your intent, being conscious about the energy that you're sending out into the universe. Inertia. Nothing happens until something moves. Exactly. And you know, this is what it was. This was part of your revelation that the Uranus card is talking about. This was part of your revelation and your radical change. It was like, if I want something different, if I want different results, if I want a deeper, a more emotional connection, I need to change the way that I'm going about it. This was part of what you had to dig into. And fear. Fear was something you had to overcome too, because I do feel within the way that things were and how you did feel in the past and that feeling of lonely, I do feel like there was more fear about am I going to find the connection that I'm looking for? And that's why there was a more willingness to compromise, because fear was overtaking things. Fear was playing too big of a part in starting this piece of your life. And fear was kind of what fucked a lot of stuff up for you when you were doing this. So yes, it was absolutely uncomfortable to dig into that fear, to call that fear out for what it is when you did that shadow work, to reach into yourself, confront that fear, call it out, and then to be able to set it aside and start doing that important self-love work. Death. Every end is the beginning of something else. A new beginning. I do feel like that was a huge transition for you. Being able to do that shadow work. I'm not sure what tower came about that triggered that, or what triggered it. It may come out more in the tarot cards. But I do feel like whatever that was a blessing in disguise, because it brought you to this new beautiful way of thinking. It brought you into this new beautiful energy and helped to really confront and set aside the fears. And I think a loneliness too, because I don't feel like you feel that anymore, because you are comfortable in your own skin. So I don't feel that loneliness anymore. I don't feel the loneliness. I don't feel the fear. And it's not that you don't want connection to come forward, but you're not willing to compromise to get it anymore. And you know that the right connection will come forward when it's meant to. Yeah, there's loneliness. Exactly. I was part of what you had to combat. That's just what I was saying, loneliness. It's funny that that card came forward right after that. That was something that had to get overcome. That was something that had to get set aside. I have this envy card too. And I gotta tell you, I don't feel a negative energy in it. I feel it tied to loneliness. I feel it tied to fear. So you may have seen sort of people close to you, finding close connections, maybe getting married, having little ones, or doing this, that, and the other. And I do feel like you wanted that piece of things for yourself. You wanted that deep soul connection as well. Nothing wrong with that. We all want connection with others. Infancy. I just feel like this was a process that you had to go through. And like all of us, everything in life is lessons. It's all learning lessons that help us to grow, that help us to evolve. If we're willing to do the work, they can help us become the best version of ourselves. And I do feel like that's everything that happened here. It was to help to take you to the next level. It was to help you ascend. It was to help you find a higher vibration. Feeling. Yeah, never be afraid to say what you really feel. And I gotta tell you, during your shadow work with this fear, with this loneliness, I think this absolutely came into play, because I don't think you were very comfortable even thinking this thought to yourself, even looking in and saying like, I am afraid of being lonely. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of not finding the connection that I really want in life. I feel like you had to get comfortable with confronting that shit within yourself. And it's like when you call it out, you bring it out into the light. And then you can start to deal with it. And then you can start to set it aside when it's in that dark. You know, when it's in the darkness and you're trying to ignore it or you're trying to avoid it and pretend it's not there, you're actually feeding it and giving it power. But by calling it out and confronting it, this is where you take your power back. This is where you can actually look at it and see that it kind of had no bearing in your life. And it was getting in your way. It was something that was holding you back. Where what you should have been doing was recognizing your beautiful qualities, your uniqueness, all the things that you brought to the table to give into a relationship and how valuable you were. You know, you had to start feeling those things and start really confronting that. This was not easy shadow work to do. Absolutely not. I can feel it in the cards. But I do feel like it was part of growing. I do feel it was part of growing. It was part of maturing. It was part of finding out who you were and really recognizing that. I love that deck of cards, guys. It's one of only 5 that exist. And I got lucky enough to have one. Beautiful deck. Let's move on. We're going to grab tarot cards for your read now. I need tarot cards. That one, really? Okay. The Gilded Tarot's coming forward. That's what I'm getting called to. So we're going to clarify your read a little bit more, and we'll find out maybe some more detail. I'd like to know more detail about why this message is coming forward. Why is this message coming forward for the collective today? There, we had a bunch that wanted to pop up. The Hierophant is talking about your wisdom. It's talking about your higher learning. I just got told the word inspiration. Okay, and this is what it means to me, because this is part of what Spirit is sort of half showing me in a vision and giving me energies for. You are an inspiration to others. What you've been through, the shadow work you've been able to do, the aha moments you've been able to find for yourself, they could benefit others. They could benefit others. The Empress. It is an Empress journey, absolutely. And that does not necessarily mean that this read is for a woman just because the Empress comes forward as a female figure. This card represents abundance. It represents healing. It represents personal growth. This is learning those lessons and learning to love yourself and be comfortable in your own skin. It is raising your vibration. It is finding a higher form of yourself and that evolving and evolution and giving and nurturing to yourself so that you can start building abundance in your life, which is exactly what you've been through. The 5 of Wands, a lot of conflict. A lot of conflict here I see in that card. And then we got the Emperor too. I got to tell you what I feel in these cards too. I feel like in the past, you did not feel deep down inside, for whatever reason, I don't mean this to be offensive, but I do feel like this was part of the shadow work you had to contend with, that you were worthy of finding that Emperor, that you were worthy of finding that match. There was something that you had been through in life, or things you had been through, or maybe what other people had told you, where you did not feel worthy, or you did not feel good enough. And that was something that you had to wrestle with. It was something that you had to contend with. That was part of your groundwork for growing an abundant harvest, was putting that groundwork into yourself, dealing with your shadow work, learning to love yourself, learning to recognize your value. This is that groundwork that puts you in a place where you can have an abundant harvest in the future, where you can find your connection with somebody who matches you. The 7 of Swords. And I gotta tell you too, that makes sense. You got a sneaky little fucker here with the 7 of Swords and this King of Cups. You have dealt with people who are emotionally manipulative in the past. People who have run down your self-esteem. People who have actively tried to run down your self-esteem. Like that has kind of been part of their goal, is to keep you down so that you don't recognize your self-worth, so that you didn't take this Empress journey, and it would give them a level of control and make them feel like they were higher than you. Okay? You had to deal with people who did not want you to find this way of being. Absolutely. The Sun card. But no matter what this person did or these people did, whoever this King of Cups, Seven of Swords is representing, whether it's one person or multiple people in your life, you still made the journey yourself. You still chose to see the light and to do the shadow work, to shine a light on those dark places within. Ten of Pentacles. Justice. I gotta tell you too, this is speaking to where a lot of this came from. I feel a changing of your legacy in this Ten of Pentacles, because Ten of Pentacles can represent legacy. I feel, and when I say a changing of your legacy, it is speaking to the way that you think and the way that you live your life. If you had kept going the way that you were going without making this transformation and doing the shadow work, your legacy would be different. And it would probably be filled with more heartbreak and relationships where you were undervalued because you were still undervaluing yourself. You chose to change your legacy. You chose to do the hard work, and you chose to do the right thing for you and to love yourself so that you could change your legacy and you could start getting abundance. You could start getting abundance. You chose justice for yourself, to bring balance for yourself, because others were sort of taking that away from you. But you chose to bring things back into balance. That is the justice here that you chose to give to yourself by doing this. Page of Cups, Five of Swords. And I do have to tell you too, King of Wands, Page of Cups, Five of Swords, I do still feel negative forces that are trying to come into your life. Okay? People who are still trying to perpetuate this old way that you used to think. People with that player energy, with that user energy, who do not bring love and maturity as an offering. Their offering is very small. It is low vibrational. It is page. It is crap. People who are looking to take from you to get a victory for themselves. You do still have these energies floating around you. Feel like this is this King of Wands, Page of Cups, Five of Swords. That is what these cards are speaking to. And this energy feels present. So I don't know if this is like a past person trying to come back in, somebody who you used to know, or just an energy that gets attracted in by your Empress energy. Because when you are an Empress, you do attract more energy. That confidence, it will attract more attention. And not all of it is like an emperor or a match. Sometimes you get some losers in there too. So I do feel like this is a current energy that might be being pulled back in by your confidence or being pulled towards your confidence. It is not one who matches your vibration or who is willing to offer you what it is you're looking to offer. The Two of Wands is telling you to be patient and to wait for your right opportunity when it comes to speaking to connection. Okay? You will find that connection. Don't be afraid to be picky. Don't be afraid to be picky. Don't be afraid to be choosy. Don't be afraid to be patient and sort of take things slow. Because by taking things slow, anybody who's got this really horned up, low vibrational energy, that person's not going to wait around for a very long time. That person's going to get real pushy and their colors are going to shine through very quickly, and you're going to be able to see what their intent is. And you're smart enough to know that you're worth more than that, and you're not going to feed into it, right? So don't be afraid to take your time, because anybody who comes to you with proper Emperor, Empress energy, that higher vibrational energy to match you, is somebody who's going to recognize taking time to get to know each other as a virtue and a value. And it's something that they're going to want to do too, because it's somebody who's going to come to the plate not looking just for sex or a sexual connection. It's going to be somebody who comes to the plate looking for a life and long-term partner. Okay? So don't be afraid to take your time. Don't be afraid to be patient. It will weed the losers out. It will weed the losers out. The Page of Wands. Don't be afraid to tell them that too, because as soon as you say it, the ones who are really bad are going to be like, ooh, really? Why you gotta wait? You're so hot, baby. Did it? Like right away, they're going to try and push. That's the red flag. That's how you're going to know that's a loser. That's how you're going to know that's just somebody who's not willing to commit. That's a waste of your time, whoever that is. The Nine of Swords. You're going to be able to see through their crap right away. I keep seeing that Nine of Swords. I'm not worried. I'm not worried, and this person or people cannot prey on my worry. They can't prey on fear because fear has no hold over me anymore. I've done my shadow work. I don't have this fear anymore. I've released it. I've released negative emotions. I'm just looking forward to a bright future. I have a new way of looking at things. The Ten of Swords. I can be a disappointing ending. No, I got told the word transformation. That's what my guys, they always speak to me from here. That's what my guys just finished saying. Transformation when I looked at this card. So whatever it was that you had been through that sort of triggered this, that triggered this change in you, it was a transformation. It was one that let the old you go and embrace a new, higher vibration of you. It's like a new ascension, this Empress, this Emperor energy, this higher vibrational energy. It's the new you. That's what I keep getting told, the new you. It's a new version of yourself, and it will turn your wheel of fortune in different aspects of your life. We're definitely talking about love and romance in this read, but I do feel like it carries into other aspects of your life because it gives you confidence to speak your mind, to ask for what you're looking for, to take a risk or opportunity in pursuing a goal and pursuing what you're wanting. So there is no fear to hold you back in any aspect of your life now because you recognize your smarts, you recognize your capabilities, you recognize your talents, your qualities, and your worth. So you're not afraid to go out and reach for what you're looking for. The Star card, you see clearly now. You have clarity now. There is nothing that can hold you back. Your fears, your doubts, it's like you've unshackled yourself from this hanging man way of being. And the hanging man too represents that there isn't an outside force that can stop us from finding success. The only thing that can stop us is ourselves. Fears, doubts, insecurities, all the shit you had to wrestle with, all the things you had to shine a light on and uncover to be able to see your true self. This hanging man does not apply to you anymore in this new way of being. You're now like this Nine of Pentacles, who, by the way, is the minor arcana version of the Empress. It's a very similar energy. It's happiness. It's abundance. It's independence. It's what you build for yourself. It's knowing your self-worth, finding happiness, building it on your own. You're not putting up with crap anymore. You're not putting up with low vibrational people. It's like losers need not apply. Time wasters need not apply. You don't have time for that garbage no more. You're in this higher vibration and you're looking for somebody who matches. Yeah, you're looking for a Two of Cups. That's what you're holding out for. You're holding out for a Two of Cups. You're holding out for a soul connection. You're holding out for a mature, even connection, right? Even reciprocation, give and take, Page of Swords. Where does the Page of Swords sit, please? Can you tell me where the Page of Swords sits? What does he represent? That one too. Ah, interesting. The same message we had before, taking your time to get to know somebody. And you don't have to be 100% shut down or cold, but you're taking time to get to know somebody before you move it to a more physical stage, right? You recognize that sharing that aspect with you physically has a value and has a worth, and not everybody is worthy of it, right? Not everybody is worthy of it. They have to earn it. People got to earn it now. Somebody's got to be willing to go the distance, like this Knight of Pentacles. They got to be willing to show you what they're all about, to show you that they're true, to show you that they're honest, to show you that they're worthy of a physical connection with you, that they're worthy of your heart. They're worthy of your time. They're worthy of your energy. This Queen of Cups. I feel like you finally have, and I'm not trying to say this in a bad way, but I feel like you finally feel like you have control over your emotions. Like they don't have control over you. Because I feel like the fear was very overwhelming before. There was a lot of those dark emotions that, like the Hanging Man said, were sort of holding you back. I feel like you finally feel like you have control of that now. You're on top of that. That is not running you. You are in control of what goes on with your emotions. And then give me a couple more here, Spirit. There we go. Let's see what these guys are all about. And by having control of that, None of that can be like this devil card anymore. And this devil card is a destructive force. So fear is a destructive force. Insecurities, doubt, those things are a destructive force. Just like the hanging man. It was stopping you from achieving what you were looking for. It became that destructive force. The Eight of Wands, you had to learn to communicate with yourself. You had to learn to tap into your feelings, to shine a light on the darkness, to recognize these things for yourself. Exactly, and find that balance. Find that balance. And just because you don't have somebody in your life does not mean you have to feel lonely. Does not have to feel like there is a void there that will never get filled up. I feel like these were some of the things you had to find for yourself. You had to find balance and happiness within your own skin. You had to find your own worth. You had to find your own value. You had to hold yourself in high esteem and recognize that if you do this, that you will find somebody who values you as well, and somebody who is worthy of your time, and somebody who's willing to put in the time and effort. But first it had to start on the inside. And that's the toughest work to do. And that's what you went out and did. And now I feel in this Queen of Swords, more of your energy. And what's coming forward here is somebody who's true to themselves. The way that you think about yourself. Thoughts, swords tends to be thoughts. It tends to be truths. And it's like the way you think about yourself. And you see yourself now as like higher status. You see yourself now in your self-worth. And what other people or somebody else needs to do to step up to the plate to match that. Right? You look at yourself in a completely different light now after all of this. That's why I kept getting like the old you and the new you. This is a new you. This is a new you. It's a new chapter. And it's like a fresh start to your life and this aspect of your life. Your right love will come along. Like I said, don't be afraid to be picky because you're still getting, I don't know if it's sort of where you're at or if it's somebody from your past. You are getting attention by somebody who is low vibrational. Like I said, if you're taking your time and you're making it clear that you're going to take your time to get to know somebody before you move back into the sexuality and the sexual side of things, right away you're going to be able to tell who's a player and who's somebody who's like genuinely looking to find out who you are and is looking for some kind of proper companionship and balance and an even give and take and commitment. Because the players always show their hand. The players have no patience. The players just want to jump into the sack. So that'll be your cue. And it's all because you did this change. It's all because you did the shadow work. So bravo, because that is not easy work to do. Alrighty guys, take care.